You found it. Your home for the best content on your favorite team, the Fighting Tigers of LSU. Do us a favor. Subscribe to the channel. Leave your comments below. And be sure to smash that like button. Shea Dixon on 3, the Bengal Tiger, good enough to jump aboard with us as he does every Tuesday, talk a little recruiting. How are you, dude?
I'm doing well. How are you, Matt?
Man, fired up, energetic, ready to roll. Admittedly, Shea, you and I talked last week, and there were 12 official visits, and I'm like, man, they're probably going to pop a commit or two out of this weekend. It didn't happen. Should I be worried that they didn't land any commits this past weekend?
Well, if you're direct quoting me, I said if they end up signing two.
No, I'm not quoting. I'm not quoting you at all. No, I'm just saying normally you have a big recruiting weekend. Dudes get caught up in the excitement of being on campus and you pop one, right? No, you didn't say they would. I'm just curious if you thought maybe they should or could have it over the weekend.
When most of your double-digit visitors are top 100 players with 4 visits still to go in the NIL era, the days of popping to an out-of-state school is kind of slim, but doesn't mean you don't get them in the end or that every kid's caught up in NIL. But I wasn't surprised at all. Most of these kids have, if not the war, 90% of them have maybe at least 2 to 3 more visits coming. Some have a full slate of 5 before the month of June ends, and then the dead period begins. Really only one of them at the high school level. Bowe Bentley is down to 2 teams and is only making 2 visits. So he had LSU this past weekend and OU this coming weekend, and we've talked about him a good amount before, but the clip notes would be that after they didn't sign a high school quarterback, when Bryce Underwood flips in the 11th hour with Larry Ellis in Michigan, big payday, drama that unfolded into November, December, that would open the door for them to get in on a high-profile quarterback this cycle. And Bentley's just that, coming out of Texas as one of On3's top 5 quarterbacks and the only one who's not committed anywhere. So LSU visit in the books. OU up this weekend. All
right, how did it go with Bentley in Baton Rouge?
Nobody has a bad official visit, so I don't want to, rant and rave on that. But look, I'll say this. When he came in March, and we've talked about this, Matt, that visit really pushed LSU up alongside Oklahoma. And this is a kid growing up in an area of Texas where there's a lot of OU fans. He says, hey, look, I grew up, I'm not rooting for the Sooners, pulling for whatever it might be as a kid. Now I'm a recruit and I'm looking at all schools, but Oklahoma has prioritized him as well. So you know that you're up against a school that's kind of had that connection to him, but at the same time, it's not, I don't mean business decision in college NIL sense. I mean long-term future, college playing time, all of that is getting weighed out here by the Bentley family. And look, the wide receivers that have come through here and continue to come through here, it's so hard, as I always say, for you and I to wrap our heads around this. But guys like Bowe Bentley, who are 17, 18, they've watched football, as a recruit for 4 or 5 years, and they consider LSU to be a quarterback factory when we would think of the Lincoln Riley OU days, right? Of all those guys coming through and winning Heisman's, and he's off to USC now, obviously. So a bit of a shift there in terms of which school can actually pitch the quarterback angle a bit better. In fact, think about it. LSU, Oklahoma's leading receiver the past 2 seasons are both on LSU's roster right now. So a very different switch up for them. I think LSU's in a good spot, and we'll see what happens. But again, that visit in March came with just his dad. This one was dad, mom, girlfriend, brothers. Everybody that kind of is around him and his family, and part of the process was there, which lets you know they're taking this pretty seriously.
We'll get right back to the video, but thrilled to welcome Our Lady of the Lake to AFR LSU. As the championship health partner of LSU athletics, the physicians at Our Lady of the Lake serve the champions on the field in the purple and gold, but that same level of care is available to you and your family. I've been a proud supporter of Our Lady of the Lake my entire life, from volunteering at the Ronald McDonald Playroom as a high schooler to helping so many of the fundraising efforts for the standalone children's hospital, to my own son being a patient now at that very children's hospital, and my primary care physician, Dr. Kurt Chastain at Our Lady of the Lake Men's Health Group. Our Lady of the Lake has been a part of my medical journey my entire life. You can learn more as well. Our Lady of the Lake and LSU. Together, we roar. The other real big-time recruit on campus, I mean, there were plenty, Shea, but that we talked about a week ago was Immanuel Iheanacho, one of the top players in the country, the offensive lineman. Give us the update or whatever you can tell us about this past weekend with Iheanacho's visit.
Yeah, he is a five-star number 2 player in the country, and the only player ahead of him is another offensive tackle. So that one is committed in Jackson Cantwell to Miami, which a lot of people thought, hey, look, if Oregon got Cantwell or, things would have gone a little bit differently. Maybe Iheanacho doesn't look at Oregon as strongly, or I should say Oregon doesn't go as hard after Iheanacho, and they've still got an official visit to come. But this was one where LSU came from almost like completely out of the top 5-6 range, or they were, I would say, about 3 months ago, to getting him to campus, to recruiting him heavily, to going and sitting down with him during the eval period. And now they got his official visit to kick off the month of June. He gave really rave reviews about kind of how the trip went, seeing everything, getting to meet with, Brad Davis, Brian Kelly, who's obviously got an O-line, pretty impressive resume in terms of what he's had developed under, teams coached by him at multiple schools. So I think that LSU was already one of the team that was kind of surging up there, like who could catch Oregon. And this past weekend, I think, in the words of Steve Wilfong as well, who has a good pulse on the national side here, as well as Chad Simmons on 3, they both said, hey, look, LSU can make a very good case that they're in the top 3, if not top 2, but he still has this Oregon visit to come. So we'll see how it unfolds. And this kid's out of the D.C. area, so it's, either school would be further away from home than, something local.
Shea, one quick follow-up on Iheanacho. When you look at the fact that you've got with Tyree Adams and Weston Davis, which I presume will be LSU starters, both returning likely for 2026, does that impact a guy like Iheanacho, just the ability to get on the field as a freshman?
I don't think so, because for all we know, one of those guys not even in the year as a starter at LSU. I have no idea. We haven't seen him play yet. So it feels a little different than when Emory and Will Campbell came in, and it was like, okay, if you make this decision, they're probably staying there for 3 years, and both of them did. And along the way, Weston Davis, a 5-star, committed to him. Tyree Adams, a top 100 player, committed to him. They had no trouble getting offensive tackles in here. So, I think they're looking for those next guys up, or guys that can come in and compete right away. And there is no doubt that if you were to pick a handful of guys in the country that could do that next year on a college team, Iheanacho is very firmly in that mix. And let's not forget, LSU just had the highest drafted O-lineman they've ever had in the program's history, which is crazy to think about. But Will Campbell going in the top 5.
He's Shea Dixon on 3, the Bengal Tiger. Get him at Shea Dixon. Okay, the other side of it, Shea, that a lot of people here locally are maybe freaking out about a little bit. I use that term lightly. But Kenny Darby, one of the top players in the state of Louisiana, an LSU commit, took a visit to Alabama this past weekend. Any reason to be concerned about it?
I didn't even know which recruit you were going to name when you start saying freaking out, which is the low way to put what happens on message boards right now. But look, Kenny Darby and Tristan Keys, 2 of their 3 receiver commits, the other being Jabari Mack out of Destrehan, who has been solid. Destrehan has been great to LSU, so you kind of don't worry about that one as much. But you look at a kid out of Airline, North Louisiana, and then you look at a guy like Tristan Keys. He's the number 1 receiver in the country. You know that people are going to be courting him, and Bama had been on Kenny Darby, and he came up with a late visit and said, hey, I'm going to go this weekend, and then said that he's going to have this July 4th announcement to kind of finalize things. But I had kind of picked up from talking to those around him that he was already going to do something on July 4th, kind of just celebrating the day and announcing, and that's when the dead period is. So all the kids are kind of putting an end to the recruitments. But, yeah, look, he's commented that he's solid and shut it down, and now he's making a visit. But that's the nature of recruiting. I don't think he's going to flip. I think he ends up signing. He'll visit June 20th for his OV, and that'll be the same weekend Jabari Mack's there and the same weekend Tristan Keys is there, who all 3 of those guys were on campus a week ago for unofficial visit as the 3 commits, just kind of hanging out together, getting to know each other. This is arguably, and they could add another, but the best wide receiver class out there if they can hold it together. Keys was at Miami, and he'll make a slew of visits, end it with LSU, and all of those were planned before he even committed to LSU, and he had said all along that he was going to make them. So I think the good news, Matt, is you don't come out of the weekend with any of those guys flipped, right? Like, it's business as usual. Keep moving forward.
Lamar Brown's another one, Shea, an uncommitted prospect who we've talked about a ton. And
I thought that was your panic guy right there. That's
no, man, look,
you tricked me.
I don't know, man. Who knows what qualifies or classifies? But Shea, with me, especially after Underwood, until we get to signing day and the ink is dry, you just got to take everything with a grain of salt, and you get the best info you can and you proceed. But you could always have a billionaire just come drop a bag on somebody and it flips the whole thing on its head. So you do the best you can. Okay, Lamar Brown was down at Miami. Seemed like it went well. What can you tell us?
Yeah, he had come out from the visit and gave some quotes, at least on three. And I'm sure they're pretty similar wherever, but that Miami is firmly in this, that they've done maybe the best job of recruiting here lately. And look, I think Lamar, we joked about this, he's the number one athlete in the country at whatever he is. What is it, 4 or 5, 2, maybe taller, 280-something pounds, can play O-line, D-line. Any college coach would let him on either side of the ball, and he's having fun. Look, and if you think that he's going to ultimately end up at LSU, well, he goes to U High, which is on LSU's campus. So when he goes out to these other colleges, you're not going to not have fun. And I think he's also trying to, does he have interest in these schools? Yeah, sure. But I also think he enjoys the process of it, keeps everyone guessing, even if it's not LSU, that he's kind of high on all of these teams as he goes through the process. But it wasn't long ago that he had named LSU as leader, and he had said similar things on A&M, but we know they've always been in the mix. And he's going to make this Texas visit, which was added late in the process. So everyone's going to be fighting over him. He's a 5-star and one of the best players in the country. I still think that LSU gets him, Matt. I do. I think this is an LSU A&M battle, and sure, if we put the asterisk on it that anybody this day and age can come in with a massive amount of money in the NIL era. And look, that's one thing right now. Until this House settlement is pushed through, it's still wild, wild west out here. There is no sense of having to think, hey, look, this is what we have to do, by the rule of the law, letter of the law, to balance out our roster. And, you toss around numbers, and I'm not going to get too deep into confusing everyone here, but if you toss some number at a prospect, and what if that's 15% of your roster budget or something like that? Like, you wouldn't ever do that, but you would right now before the House settlement. So I think it's kind of a weird time for every one of these schools. And that's what a lot of coaches talked about down in Destin at the SEC coaches conference, clinic, whatever they call it these days, but meetings where, hey, look, the quicker this House settlement gets done, the better, because until then, we are still in this wild, wild west feel, when I kind of get the sense that a lot of people just think, oh, well, that'll get done any day now. And certainly it's not like it was back in November when Larry Ellison comes out of nowhere and steals your 5-star quarterback. No, it is still like that right now.
Yeah, I think the expectation, Shea, is that the House settlement would have already happened by now, but it continues to push forward. So until it is settled, it'll still have there will be a lot of qualifications and complications, but at least it will add some structure moving forward to whatever that may look like. But in any event, you want to follow all of it on 3, the Bengal Tiger. He's on Twitter at Shea Dixon. Get him there. Good enough to join us every Tuesday here on AFR. Thanks, Shady. Appreciate you, man.
Thanks, Matt.
Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact, and be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.